गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, in the last class we had completed the first shloka of the 12th chapter Bhakti Yoga, and then we also read the second shloka. I just read the second shloka and explained it. That is, Mayi aveshya mano yemam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetas te me yukta tama mataha. We saw Arjuna's question in the first shloka. Arjuna's question was about the Nirguna Upasaka on one side and the Saguna Upasaka on one side. When we say Nirguna Upasaka, Upasana there does not mean bhakti or devotion or worship. Upasana means Brahmatma Sandhanam. That is Atmanusandhanam, Brahmanusandhanam. That is the understanding the meaning of this Vedantic sentences Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, etc. and applying to oneself. That is what is called Anusandhanam. So he is at that level. That is the meaning of Upasana. At the level of Saguna, that is Sopathika Brahma, or that the conditioned Brahma as we call it, that conditioned Brahma or Ishvara as we call it, that is Upasana, where you are in this duality mode. In worship, it's in this worship mode. So this is that Nirguna Upasana is that non-dual mode. So this is in the duality mode. So this is what we saw. Arjuna's question was, which is better? So then Krishna is saying, okay, I will tell about these Aksharopasakas later. That is Nirguna Upasakas. I will tell them about later. Tell about them later. I will first tell about my devotees. So that is what he is saying. So this shloka says, the second shloka, those who fix their mind in me only, me means Ishvara, that's Saguna Brahma, Ishvara, Nitya Yuktaha, always attentive and always fixed to that, always, and Shraddhaya Paraya Upetaha, with great amount of devotion. And then they are dearest to me, Te me Yukta Tama Mataha. So I deem them as the dearest people to me. Yukta Tamaha, that is those who are well settled in yoga. That is the meaning. So let us read the Bhashyam. Mayi Vishwarupe Parameshware Aveshya Samadhaya Manaha Ye Bhaktas Santaha Mam Sarva Yogeshwaranam Adhishwaram Sarvajñam Vimukta Ragadi Klesha Timira Drushtim Nitya Yuktaha Atitanantaradhyayokta Shlokarthanyayena. Okay, Adhyayokta Atitanantaradhyayanta Ukta Shloka Arthanyayena. Okay, Satata Yukta Santaha Upasate Shraddhaya Paraya Prakushtaya Upetaha Te me mama Mataha Abhipretaha Yukta Tama iti. Okay, in one line he has finished the Bhashyam. That is, Mayi Aveshya, that is having fixed in me. What is that me? So Shankaracharya, he clarifies at every stage so that we don't misunderstand. So usually when Lord Krishna says I, we usually take it as the Supreme Brahman. So we have to see the context, whether he is referring to Supreme Brahman or whether he is referring to this Maya Vachina Ishvara. So here he is clarifying, Mayi means Vishwarupe Parameshware. That is that Vishwarupa form. This is the Vishwarupa Upasana. Upasana of that cosmic form, that Parameshwara, that Maya Vachina Chaitanyam. Then Aveshya means Samadhaya. Samadhaya means having concentrated his mind on me. Samadhi, Samadhaya, Samahita, they are all related words. Samyak Adhiyate Manaha iti Samadhihi, isn't it? So, the same dha dhatu it changes shape as a samahita, like purohita. Puraha plus dha dhatu becomes purohita. So like that, samadhaya, samahita. Samahita means that which has been kept in a samadhi is called samahita. So samadhaya, manaha. Samadhaya what? Manaha. Manas samadhaya. You have to keep your mind, you have to concentrate your mind there only in that Ishvara. You should not swerve here and there. Then ye bhaktas santaha mam sarvayogeshwaranam adhishwaram sarvajnam. Again this mam, he is clarifying. Who is this mam? Sarvayogeshwaranam adhishwaraha. Yogeshwaraha. Yogeshwaraha means yoga, we have seen the meaning as ghatana. Those who are capable of srushti, sthiti, laya, etc. and all that. So sarvayogeshwaranam adhishwaram. I am the supreme among them all. There may be several other yogis, who are capable of doing several things. But I am that supreme, that Ishvara is the supreme among all those people who can be called yogis. Sarva Yogeshwaranam Adhishwaram. Sarvajna. Sarvajna also is in the case of Ishvara only. When, of course, Sarvajna word is used in the case of Nirupadhika Brahma also, but there you give a different meaning, a different meaning in the sense, Sarvam cha tat gnascha. Sarvam cha tat gnascha iti Sarvajnaha. That is, that supreme Brahman is Sarvam, that is everything. Jnaha, Jnapti Swarupaha. So there is no question of knower knowing relationship. This knower, knowing, etc. comes only when you talk about this Ishvara, a conditioned Brahma. Only when you talk of a conditioned Brahma, this knower, known, say duality is there. Whereas in that Sarvajna, supreme Brahman, there is no question of Sarvajna because it is of the nature of pure consciousness, it is of the nature of pure knowledge. So it is called Jnapti Swarupaha, Jnana Swarupaha, Prajnana Ghanaha. All these words we have seen here and there. So, Adhishwaram Sarvajnam. Then again, Vimukta Ragadi Klesha Timira Drushtihi. That is, all this Timira Drushti. Timira means this dark, say, vision or a confused vision. Timira actually means improper vision. Timira, this improper or blindness rather, Timira Drushti. What is that blindness? Ragadi Klesha Timira. All this raga, dvesha, etc., all these kleshas. Klesha is again something which tortures you. Klesham is something which tortures you, which gives dukkha to you. And what are these kleshas? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, pancha klesha. There is one sutra in Patanjali. Avidya, that ignorance, raga, attachment, dvesha, hatred, avidya, asmita. Asmita means the notion of I, that supreme notion of I, that ego, all the identity which has been built up around the ego. So all these things, and again avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means sticking to some particular opinion. Oh, this is my religion, this is my caste, this is my community, this is my ideology, this is something which is great. That is abhinivesha, sticking on to something. So that is an abhinivesha. So a jnani should not have abhinivesha also, even that abhinivesha is a klesha. So today my party is coming to power, that is again an abhinivesha. So all those things you have to get out of it, at least in Vedanta class. So anyway, so these are all abhiniveshas and all these called kleshas. Klesham is that which basically tortures you, that which basically torments you. They always say nag your mind. So they are something like the bee in the bonnet, as there is a saying in English. So they are like the bee in the bonnet. They keep on troubling you. So these are the kleshas. So here, when we are talking about Ishvara, he is Vimukta from all these kleshas. He is devoid. Vimukta means devoid. He is devoid of all these kleshas, all these troubling things like raga, dvesha, etc., etc. And then because of that, he does not have that blind vision. So all other people who have this raga, dvesha, etc., they can't see things properly. When you are having a raga, when you are having an attachment, when you are having hatred, you can't see things in the proper perspective. So whereas Sarvajna, Ishvara, he is not subject to that raga, dvesha, etc. In fact, there is a big adhikarana in Brahma Sutra, Vaishamya Nairghrunya say prakaranam, there adhikaranam, sorry, adhikaranam. There is an adhikarana in Brahma Sutras. That is that Ishvara, he is the person who gives you the karma phala. He is the one who gives you the fruit of the action. But he himself does not have any sort of enmity or hatred or any friendship or enmity. There is no Vaishamya, there is no Nairghunyam, lack of compassion, etc. He is merely a karma phala data. So that is it. Then Nitya Yuktaha means Atita Anantaradhyayanta Vukta Shlokartha Nyayena. That is the last shloka of the preceding chapter. That is the last shloka of the preceding chapter. It talked about Mayi Madbhaktaha, Madgata Pranaha, etc. Madgata Pranaha, Dhyanaha, Mayi Matkarmakrut Matmaya, Matkarmakrut Matparamaha, Madbhaktaha, Sangavarjitaha. That is what it said, isn't it? So in that manner, Nitya Yuktaha, in what manner? In the manner in which it was described in the 55th shloka of 11th chapter. So that is it. Nyayena. Satata Yukta Santaha. Always fixed in that frame of mind. Upasate. Here Upasana means that worship, meditate on my form, meditate on this cosmic form, meditate on this Vishwarupa form. Upasate. Shraddhaya Paraya Prakrushtaya. Paraya, supreme Shraddha. That you should have that supreme sense of devotion. Upetaha. Te me Yukta Tamaha Mataha. I deem those people as Yukta Tamaha. Those who are very well, very perfect in yoga, very perfect in this, in their devotion. So that is what I deem them to be. Then, Nairantaryena hite Machitataya Ahoratram Ativahayanti Ato Yuktam Tan Prati Yuktatamaha iti Vaktum. So Shankaracharya is slightly justifying with a sort of tongue in the cheek comment. You know what is a tongue in the cheek comment? So these people, after all through day and night, Nairantaryena means without any gap. Nirantara, Antara means gap. Nairantaryena, without any gap. These people, Machittataya, their whole mind, their whole chittam, his attention is in that Lord only. Machittataya, Horatram Ativahayanti. Day and night they spend like that only. So Ataha Yuktam Tan Prati Vaktum. That is, it is very appropriate to call them as the dearest people. Suppose you have got a very, very dear servant who is serving you all through day and night. Even in the dead of the night, you just look for some help and then he is available and giving you some help. So if you find such a fellow, you will say, okay, he is dearest to me. So something like that. So from that point of view, so the tone of Bhashyakara we have to see here. So these are all like hard working servants whom the God likes very much. So that is the tone. Okay, then Kim itare yuktatamana bhavanti?
Kim itare yuktatamana bhavanti?
Na. Kintu. Tan prati yad vaktavyam tat shrunu.
Tan prati yad vaktavyam tat shrunu.
Okay, Kim itare, all the others. Then what about others? Are they not dear to you? What about others means? Those who are in that Nirguna path. Nirguna path, those who realize Brahman, those who go through the mill of that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and all that, those who say discard this Raga, Dvesha, etc., all these kleshas, they get rid of all those things. All those qualities which were described here, they acquire on their own with great effort. So all those people, what do you talk about them? So te yuktatamana bhavanti? No, not like that. Kintu tan prati yad vaktavyam. So what I have to say about them, you please listen. So that is the commentary. Let us read the shloka. Yet vaksharamanirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha. Na gamachintyam, sarvatra gam achintyam. Sarvatra gam achintyam cha. Kutastha vachalam dhruvam. Okay. So, ye tu. So, of course, this shloka is not complete. It is connected to the next shloka. Ye tu, those who, and then Sanniyam Yendri Gramam Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha Te Prapnuvanti Mavem. This third shloka and fourth shloka, they form one sentence. This third shloka, we have just left it in the middle, but still we can read the Bhashyam. So ye tu means on the other hand, ye those aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam. So this akshara Brahma, that imperishable Brahman, the supreme Brahman, anirdeshyam, that which cannot be defined, that which cannot be say known by any pramanas, that which cannot be defined. Nirdeshya, nirdeshanam means point out. Nirdeshanam is pointing out. Anirdeshyam, that which cannot be defined, that which cannot be pointed out, that which cannot be known by any pramana. Then avyaktam, not avyakta in the sense of Maya, avyakta in the sense of Supreme Brahman, avyaktam. Paryupasate, pari plus upasate, pari is an upasarga, same as upasate, pari means adding to that say verb, upasate, there are certain upasargas which add to the meaning of the verb. So this pari is like that, pra is like that. So paryupasate, of course for paryupasate, Anandagiri writes, of course Shankaracharya is writing anything for paryupasate. Paryupasate, parisamantat upasate. Of course, Shankaracharya also is explaining. So, but Anandagiri has given a meaning, Shastrataha aksharam gnatva. Shastrataha gnatva. That is, Paryupasate does not mean, again, worship, etc. He is at every point we have to clarify what is the meaning of upasana there. So, here the meaning of upasana is Brahmatma Bhavana. The meaning is Shastrataha aksharam gnatva. That is, you go to a guru, you study, do this Shavana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, and then know that Akshara Brahma, Jnatva. This is talking about the Jnaya Brahma. So this Upasana is about Jnanam. Upasanam in this particular shloka means Jnanam. Upasate means those who are in that Jnana path, those who know Brahman, those who realize Brahman. So that is the meaning of Upasate. Then Sarvatragam Achintyamcha. So these are again adjectives for the same Brahman. Sarvatraga means sarvatra gacchati iti sarvatra gaha, isn't it? So that which is everywhere, that is infinite, ananta. So that is the meaning of sarvatraga. That is then achintyam, that which cannot be contemplated. Contemplated in the sense, of course, not in the sense of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. By mind and senses, you can't cognize it, you can't objectify it. So that is the meaning of achintya. Sarvatragam, achintyamcha, kutastham. Kutastha means avikari, that which does not undergo any change. Of course, Shankaracharya is going to give two meanings for that. We will read very elaborately. Kutastham, achalam, that which does not undergo any change, which does not move. Achala, na chalati. Then dhruvam, that again the same meaning, which is fixed, which is which is there everywhere, and then it does not undergo any change. All these things are by and large say the same meaning. Then bhashyam, yetu, is the shloka clear?
Yes.
Yetu aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam upasate. So for that akshara Brahma there are so many adjectives. Sarvatragam, achintyam, kutastham, achalam, dhruvam, all these things are adjectives. So let's see the bhashyam. Yetu aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktatvad ashabdagocharam
Anirdeshyam avyaktatvad
ashabdagocharam iti na nirdeshtum shakyate ataha anirdeshyam avyaktam na kenapi pramanena vyajyate iti avyaktam paryupasate parisamantat upasate. It is continuing like that. Okay, those who do this worship, who are in this jnana path, upasate, who are in this jnana path, knowing this aksharam, anirdeshyam. The meaning of anirdeshyam is avyaktatvad ashabda gocharamiti, because this is avyaktam. So ashabda gocharam, it cannot be described by words, something which cannot be described by words. Iti na nirdeshtum shakyate ataha. It cannot be pointed out, it cannot be known, it cannot be known by words, it cannot be known by the mind. So therefore anirdeshyam. Then avyaktam. Why is it avyaktam? Because it cannot be known by any pramana. Na kenapi pramanena vyajyate. Vyajyate means it cannot be manifested. Vyajyate, Vyangya, Vyanjaka Bhava, those words we know, those things. Vyangyam, this is knowledge. This while reading that, what is that Kenopanishad also, we saw that Vritti is something which is Abhivyanjakam. Chaitanya Abhivyanjakam we read. So this Vritti is illumined by Chaitanyam only. Illumined means that which is enabled by Chaitanyam only. Otherwise, Vritti itself is Jada. Vritti is not sentient. This mind, that is Antahkaranavachinna Chaitanyam. Then Vrittyavachinna Chaitanyam. Then again Vishayavachinna Chaitanyam. This Vritti is something which is Abhivyanjakam. Chaitanya Abhivyanjakam. That is what we read in, what is that Kenopanishad. So Abhivyanjakam is that which is an indicator. It is something which reveals the presence of something. So that is Abhivyanjaka. So here, na kenapi pramanena vyajyate. It is not indicated or it is not revealed. Not indicated nor revealed by any other, any pramana. So that is why it is called avyaktam. So revealed. And how is it known? This is Brahman is only known by this Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, and it has to be brought to one's own Anubhava by in the process of that Nididhyasana. So that is the meaning here. So na kenapi pramanena vyajyate iti avyaktam. Then pariyupasate, pari samantat upasate. The meaning of pari. Pari means samantat, throughout. So, throughout. This a also is an upasarga. That also means the same. Akashaha. A means samantat, kashate iti akashaha. So all everywhere. Pariyupasate. This is throughout. Parihi in this context means throughout, without any gap. Pari samantad upasate. In all manner. In all manner they do worship. So those people, they will not worship here, of course, jnana. We are talking about this jnana person. So here, let us see, Shankaracharya is telling about upasanam. Upasanam nama
Upasanam nama
yatha shastram upasyasya arthasya vishayikaranena samipyam upagamya tailadharavat samana pratyaya pravahena dirghakalam yad asanam tad upasanam achakshate. Okay, so upasanam, he has given a long definition of upasanam in the context of Nirguna Brahma. Of course, if he has to talk about upasanam in the context of a Saguna Brahma, he will use slightly different words. But of course, he is talking about upasanam of the Nirguna Brahma, that is in the context of knowing, not in the context of worshipping, in the context of knowing. So what does it mean? What is it? Upasanam nama yatha shastram, that is as prescribed in the Shastra. Then upasyasya arthasya vishayikaranena. So there is one artha. That artha, for example, tattvamasi is one statement. So the meaning of that particular statement has to be has to be understood. That understanding is called upasana. So upasyam, that sentence becomes the upasyam. That artham, the meaning of that particular sentence becomes the upasyam. Aham brahmasmi is one statement. So the meaning of that statement becomes upasyam. That is something which has to be understood. Upasya, the meaning of here means that which has to be understood. The meaning here is that which has to be understood. Upasyasya arthasya vishayikaranena. You have to bring it to your mind. Where Vishayikarana means objectify something, isn't it? But here Vishayikarana means Sakshatkaranena. So that is, you have to bring it to your mind, bring it to your experience. Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi, you have to experience. So that is the meaning of Vishayikaranena. So not like object, Brahman cannot be objectified. So here we are not objectifying in a duality. Objectification means that mode of duality. So Vishayikarana here, not in the mode of duality, but that ego, that the individual, this knower has gone, you remain in that state of Aham Brahmasmi, in that state of Brahman consciousness. So that is the meaning of Sakshatkara here. Then Samipyam Upagamya, having approached it closely. Samipyam means very closely. Then Tailadharavat Samana Pratyaya Pravahena. Tailadharavat, we know this word very, very well. So many times I explained. Like oil poured from a beaker comes in a very light, very long line, long thread. So like that, Samana pratyaya pravahena. The same stream of consciousness has to continue. The same stream of thoughts, the same stream of consciousness, that is Aham Brahmasmi Vritti and all related Vrittis only have to come, and no other dissimilar Vritti has to disturb this particular say thread. Then Dirgha Kalam Yadasanam. So you have to be in that state for a long time. Only then you can do that sakshi, you can have that sakshatkara, you can bring it to your mind. You can bring it to your mind, manasaha vishayikarana, isn't it? So you have to bring it to your mind, and then that is called upasanam ityachachate. Then aksharasya visheshanamaha.
Aksharasya visheshanamaha.
Is this line clear?
Achakshate.
No, achachate means told, it is told. Achachate means that which is told. Upasanam achachate means that which is told. Or people call it, which is called upasana. Upasanam achachate. Then so then the next aksharasya visheshanamaha.
Aksharasya visheshanamaha.
So aksharasya, of that akshara brahma, some more adjectives are coming. Visheshanam is some more description. Some more description is coming of that say akshara brahma. What is that? Sarvatragam vyomavad vyapi achintyam cha avyaktatvad achintyam yadhi karanagocharam tad manasapi chintyam tad viparitatvad achintyam aksharam. Okay. So this asarvatragam, that is sarvatra gacchati, vyomavad vyapi, like this vyoma, like this space. It is, vyoma means space. Vyomavad vyapi, vyapi means it is all pervading. Vyapi, it is pervading like the space. Then achintyam, then avyaktatvad achintyam. Because it is avyakta, it is something which is unthinkable, unknowable rather. That is, yadhi karanagocharam, whatever is known to the indriyas. Karana gocharam means, karana means indriya. Whatever is known to these indriyas, then that can be thought of, that can be contemplated by the mind, that can be conceptualized by the mind. But then here it is not karana gocharam. Tad viparitatvat means because it is not like that. Tad viparitam, because it is not like that. Achintyam aksharam. That is why it is achintyam. It is inconceivable, unexplicable, inexplicable. So then aksharam. So this is what is aksharam. Then kutastham. Now we are going to see the meaning of kutastham. Kutastham is drishyamana gunam antardosham vastu kutam kuta rupam kuta sakshyam ityadau kuta shabdah prasiddho loke. Okay. So this kuta, Shankaracharya is explaining say one meaning first. Kutastham, he is going to say that kuta refers to Maya. So we have some popular words also, even in Telugu. Kuta Sakshi we say. Kuta Sakshi, have you heard that phrase? That is a false witness. A fellow, Kuta Sakshi, who goes and gives false witness against somebody. In a case, suppose there is a case in a court of law. So a witness is supposed to tell the truth there, whereas this fellow goes and gives some false evidence against somebody. So the fellow who gives false evidence, he is called that Kuta Sakshi. Kuta Yuddha, there is something called Kuta Yuddha. Kuta Yuddha means not a Dharma Yuddha, which is opposed to Dharma Yuddha. When the opponent is sleeping, when the opponent is not prepared, you go in a very, very unchivalrous manner and then you go and kill him. So that is how all these invaders, they came and invaded India. Because all our people, they were only say looking for Dharma Yuddha. These are the people who just do their Sandhya Vandana in the morning. Then again they blow the bugle and then okay, come ready. Then they fight. The other people who came were not like that. They were just, while these people were sleeping, they just came, set fire to their tents and then killed them. So that is what is Kuta Yuddha. That is something like, in the modern terminology, it is something like a guerrilla warfare, where the enemy is not prepared, you go and attack him. So that is what is the guerrilla warfare, guerrilla tactic rather. So this is something Kuta. Kuta means that. That is something which is a treacherous, something which is, of course, here we are not using in the sense of treacherous, something which is deceitful, something which deceives you. Something which deceives you means Maya is something which is deceiving us in that sense. Maya has got two, say, powers. It is supposed to have two powers, that is Avarana and Vikshepa, two Shaktis. Avarana is concealing what is there, and Vikshepa is showing it as something else. It is concealing Brahman and showing something else as this variegated prapancha, so that you are attracted to this prapancha. So that is why Maya is supposed to be something which is deceitful, because it is actually concealing the, say, Brahman from you, and then it is revealing all this, say, world with so many attractions, and then you go about and then you are very totally lost in this, say, world. So that is Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti, you must have heard. So these two things. Of course, I don't know whether we got it earlier in the Bhashyam. Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti, these are the two Shaktis which Maya is supposed to have. So here, this Kuta, this Maya is called so deceitful, because of that. So Shankaracharya is referring to all these things here. So Drushyamana Gunam Antardosham Vastu Kutam. So he says, Kutam means Anrutam, something which is false. What is that? Apparently it looks good. Drushyamana Gunam, outwardly it looks very good. Drushyamana means it is seen. It is seen to be good. That is something like that berry which is very nice to look at. When if you open, all insects will be there inside. Medi pandu juda melimayundunu. So that is that. So it is like that. Drushyamana gunam. So outwardly apparently good. Then antar dosham. Antaha dosham. Internally defective. Antaha dosham. Your text, is it clear?
No, you have to read this.
Which one?
Oh, Antardosham, okay. Right, we read it down.
Huh?
We read it out.
Did we read it or not?
Yes.
Prasiddho loke, up to that point we read. So antar dosham means that which is defective inside. So that vastu is called kutam. That which is called false. Something which is unreal. Kutam. Then kuta sakshyam ityadav kuta shabdha prasiddhaha. So this Kuta Shabda, this Kuta word is very well known in Loka, in words such as Kuta Sakshyam, that is false evidence, false witness, in that sense. Then Tathacha Avidyadi Aneka Samsara Bijam Antardoshavath Maya Avyakrutadi Shabdavachyam. Okay, Shabdavachyam. Okay. Tatha, likewise, Tathacha Avidyadi Aneka Samsara Bijam. So this Maya is having lot many doshas inside, lot many defects inside. What are all those defects? Avidya, etc. Avidya, Kama, Karma. This is the standard phrase we also get, isn't it? Avidya, Kama, Karma. Avidya leads to Kama. Kama means desire. Desire leads to action, and action results in some result, and then that result again is in the form of samsara, isn't it? So this samsara gati is because of this avidya. So avidyadi aneka samsara bijam, all the seeds of samsara are concealed in that, though outwardly it looks pleasant. So all these seeds are very pleasant in that. Antar doshavat. So this is inside. There is all these defects, all these flaws are there inside. If you if you analyze the nature of Maya, it is antar doshavat. Antar doshavat Maya avyakrutadi shabdavachyam. This Maya, it is also called avyakruta. Avyakruta means that which is not manifested. That is what is avyakruta. Avyakrutadi shabdavachyam. Maya is otherwise called avidya. It is it is called avyakruta. So all these words are ajnana. The ajnanam also is a synonym for Maya. So all these words are synonyms. Ityadi shabdavachyam. Then he is quoting one line from an Upanishad. Mayam tu prakrutim vidyat.
Mayam tu prakrutim vidyat.
Mayinam tu maheshwaram.
Mayinam tu maheshwaram.
Mama maya duratyaya.
Mama maya duratyaya.
Ityadav prasiddham. Yat tat kutam. Tasmin kute sthitam kutastham. Tad adhyakshataya. Okay. So Mayam tu prakrutim vidyat. So this is a line from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. There is a Upanishad for which Shankaracharya also wrote a commentary. Shankaracharya actually has written commentary on 12 Upanishads. In Dashopanishads we are aware. He has written on Shvetashvatara, And I think one more, some Nrsimha Tapaniya or something, he has written a commentary. I don't have that commentary. Shvetashvatara, of course, is very popularly available. This say line says, Maya, this line also is very popular, very often quoted. Mayam tu prakrutim vidyat. So this Maya is otherwise known as Prakriti. So what Sankhyas call Prakriti, with those three gunas in it, that Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, then Vedanta we call it Maya. There, Maya is independent of Purusha. There means in Sankhya philosophy, this Prakriti and Purusha, they are two independent entities. One is insentient, this Prakriti is insentient, then the Maya Purusha is sentient. So these two are independent. But then in the presence of that Prakriti, Purusha, this Prakriti creates all these things. So that is one strange relationship which these two people, those Sankhya people have mentioned. Whereas in Vedanta, we don't have two things. There is only one thing. It is appearing as something else. The same consciousness that is same Satchidananda is appearing as this Maya. So that is why we say that this is only one entity, that is a non-dual Brahman only. And in that non-dual Brahman, this Maya is only an appearance, this Prakriti, all the three gunas with all its three gunas. So this Mayam tu Prakrutim Vidyat, this Maya has to be understood as Prakriti. Then Mayinam tu Maheshwaram, Mayi means one who controls that Maya. It is not as though, say this Ishvara or this, say Maya Vachinna Chaitanyam Ishvara, he is not under the control of Maya, but he is the controller of Maya. Maya is in his control. So that is what is the meaning here. Then Mama Maya Duratyaya, this is again a line from Gita only. Mama Maya, my Maya, is something which is insurmountable. Duratyaya, it is very difficult to cross over. So that is what we saw there. Ityadav prasiddham, it is very well known. It is well known. It is well described in that manner. That is what is called Kutam. Ityadav prasiddham yat tat Kutam. That which is very well known in this manner, that is what is called Kutam. Kutam means something which is unreal. Maya, that is what is called Mithya. Whether it exists or not, we do not know. Sadasadbhyam anirvachaniyam, that is another definition for Maya. That is Sad Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam. That is, you cannot say whether it is existing or which does not exist. So, of course, that is again a long discussion. We have seen that discussion here and there. Then, Tasmin Kute Sthitam. So, Kutastha, what is the meaning of Kutastha? Kute Sthitam is Kutastham, isn't it? In that Maya, it is there. So, in what form? Is it also submerged in that Maya? Not submerged or totally immersed in that Maya. It is not affected by that Maya. It is tad adhyakshataya. Adhyaksha means adhi plus aksha. Aksham means I. Adhi means above. So sakshi. Tad adhyakshataya. Adhyaksha means somebody who is supervising, who is sitting above and then who is looking down on various things which are happening on the ground. That is what is an adhyaksha. Adhi is above. Aksham is I, isn't it? So adhyakshataya, that is that which is sakshi rupena, it is observing this Maya. So this Maya is also Maya Vachinam Chaitanyam, isn't it? So for that Ishvara also, that Ishvara Sakshi is also there, isn't it? For Ishvara Chaitanyam also there is that Sakshi. So this is something which is, it is not as though that Brahman is actually literally watching. It is not having that Kartrutva called watching. So when you say Sakshi, we should not think that Brahman is actually watching everything. So that means he is like something like a watchman. So that Kartrutva is not there. Only a sort of figuratively, this word Sakshi is used in that used for Brahman. Brahma is called Sakshi only figuratively, not literally. So tad Sakshi, tad adhyakshataya means that Sakshi for that Maya. So that is it. Then Athava Rashihi iva sthita, Rashiriva sthitam Kutastham Atayeva achalam Yasmad achalam tasmad dhruvam nityam ityarthaha.
Yasmat achalam tasmat dhruvam nityam ityarthaha.
Okay, Athava. So another meaning for Kutastha. We know, in fact, this meaning we saw, I told earlier also. Kutam is actually the anvil on which the ironsmith beats up things. So suppose he wants to prepare a rod in a particular way, he first heats it up in the flame, and then when the iron is red hot, it is put on that anvil, and then takes a hammer and then he beats on that. So then it takes the required shape. You want to make a sickle, you want to make a knife, you want to make a dagger, in whatever manner you want, you can beat it in that shape. So but then the anvil itself does not undergo any change. So that anvil is called kuta. Another meaning for kuta also means rashi, a heap. Here, of course, heap does not mean say heap of grain or something like that. Heap, that means he is talking about some lump of iron, a solid iron which does not move. So in that sense he is using the word rashi. Rashi rivasthitam kutastham. So it is just staying there as that huge lump which is not moving at all. Kutastham atayeva achalam yasmad, because it is unmoving. That is why it is called dhruvam. It is nityam. Dhruvam means nityam, that which is eternal. Then this is the fourth shloka, is in continuation of that third shloka. Yetu aksharam nirdeshyam upasate. Those, it is still continued. They are still doing some more activities. Number one, they are doing that upasana of that aksharam. That is, they are in that knowledge path. They are understanding that Brahman. Then, and also they are also doing this. What is that? Sanniyamyendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. So these people, here this the sentence ends. So these people, they are doing something more. They are doing that aksharopasana plus indriya gramam sanniyamya. Indriya gramam means indriya samuham. Gramam means samuha, the collection of indriyas. The collection of indriyas means the 5 indriyas and also the mind. Samniyamya, that is samyak niyamya, having well controlled. Having controlled this indriya gramam quite well, having kept it under control. Then sarvatra samabuddhayaha. Samabuddhi, we know this word sama means Brahma. Samabuddhi, you see Brahman everywhere. Samyak jnana. So this is an indication of the samyak jnana. These are the people who have gone beyond that raga, dvesha, etc. And then those who have reached that level of samyak jnana, that proper understanding. Then te prapnuvanti mameva. Those people, they attain me, they come to me, they prapnuvanti, they come to me. Then sarva bhuta hite rataha. We hear this mam means the Supreme Brahman. Te prapnuvanti mameva sarva bhuta hite rataha. Because these people have gone beyond, they have transcended this raga, dvesha and all these kleshas, then they have got nothing but love for all the beings. Sarva bhuta hite rataha. So a person who has gone beyond that raga, dvesha, etc., he loves every other being as his own self. He sees his own self everywhere. So that is why sarva bhuta hite rataha. It is not as though they are doing this, say, service in a duality mode. Service can be in a duality mode. I am doing this help to you, I am giving this to you, you vote for me. That is a sort of, that is something, a duality mode. Here, it is say love is not with a notion of duality, but with the notion of non-duality. So that is the difference between a Swami doing say seva and somebody else, a leader doing some seva. So that is it. So sarvabhuta hite rataha. These are the people who do service or who love, not service, who love and then do, of course service is implied, who love all the beings as they love themselves. So let us see the bhashyam. Samniyamya, samyak niyamya, samhrutya. Samhrutya means samhara, withdrawal. Samhrutya, having withdrawn those senses and all that. Samniyamya, samhrutya. Indriya gramam, indriya samudayam. Sarvatra sarvasmin kale. Samabuddhayah. Samatulya buddhihi yesham. Ishtanishta praptau te samabuddhayah.
Ishtanishtate
What does your book say?
Ishtanishtatau te samabuddhaya.
It doesn't matter. Ishtanishta praptau, this book says. Ishtanishtadau, it doesn't matter. Ishtanishtadau te samabuddhayah.
Ishtanishtatau te samabuddhaya.
Ye evam vidhaha.
Ye evam vidhaha.
Te prapnuvanti mameva.
Te prapnuvanti mameva.
Sarvabhuta hite rataha.
Sarvabhuta hite rataha.
Okay. So these people, the people in that jnana path, they control their senses and the mind. They have kept them under proper leash. And then indriya gramam, that is indriya samudayam. Then sarvatra means sarvasmin kale, at all times in all places. Samabuddhayaha, they are having that equanimity. Sama tulya buddhihi, that is equanimity of mind. But equanimity in what? Ishta anishtadau. Your book says, this is ishta anishta praptau. When you have ishtam, when you have something pleasant, or when you have something unpleasant. Anishta means something which is unpleasant. Ishta means something which is pleasant. When you have whether you have something pleasant or whether you encounter something unpleasant, you are having that equanimity of mind. So that is what is titiksha we have seen. Titiksha, say all these dvandvas, all these dualities, you have gone beyond that dualities. So that is the state of titiksha, isn't it? Titiksha does not mean very forcibly enduring all these things. Titiksha means with an awareness that all these things are momentary. That is, all these things are, what is that word? Agamapayino anityaha. Agamapayinaha, they just come and go. Anityaha, they are non-eternal. So you have to evaluate them. You have to evaluate their reality or ephemeral nature, and then you realize that this is all impermanent. And then you develop that sense of titiksha, that is capacity to endure all those things by understanding and not forcibly. So that is the meaning here. Ishtanishta praptau te samabuddhayaha. So those people, they prapnuvanti mameva, they attain me. Then natu tesham vaktavyam kinchit mam te prapnuvanti iti. So it is totally needless to say that they reach me. Natu tesham vaktavyam kinchit. I need not tell anything about them. It is needless to say about them that they reach me. Automatically they reach me. That it is like that. They invariably, without fail, they reach me. Then jnani atmaiva me matam.
Jnani tvatmaiva
Me matam. Itihi uktam. It is also told jnani atmaiva me matam. This is what is the quotation? Where is it from? This is 7th adhyaya, 11th shloka. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. It is I deem jnani as my own self. That is the meaning. Jnani tu atma eva me matam. That is, I deem the jnani as my own self. So jnani is Brahmavit. Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati, isn't it? So he is not different from Brahman. So that is the meaning here. Then nahi bhagavat swarupanam satam.
Nahi bhagavat swarupanam satam.
Yukta tamatvam ayukta tamatvam va vachyam. So for those people who are there not on par with Brahman, those who are Brahman, Bhagavat Swarupanam Satam, in the case of those people who have already reached the stage and then who can be called Brahma itself, there is no distinction between this Jnani and Brahma. For those who have reached that stage, you can't again bring them back and then classify them here. So you can classify you can classify or you can do some comparison among people of almost similar rank. But then he is on a totally different plane. You can't bring him back here for the purpose of comparison. So that is what Shankaracharya says. So for them, yukta tamatvam or ayukta tamatvam na vachyam. So yukta tamatvam, you can't say these are people are yukta tama. These people are not so yuktatama. All this type of comparison, they have gone beyond this comparison. They are already settled in Brahman. They are in that Brahmatma Bhavana. They can't be brought back to this comparison level again. So that is the meaning. Then kintu. So there is a rider there. A rider means there is some difficulty in reaching that particular stage. So that is what Lord Krishna is saying. Next shloka. Kleshodhikarastesham.
क्लेशोऽधिकरस्तेषाम्
अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम्
अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम्
अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम्
अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं
दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते
देहवद्भिरवाप्यते
सो तेषां क्लेशः अधिकतरः सो द फर्स्ट लाइन यू सी क्लेशः अधिकतरः तेषां for those people means for those who are in that jnana path kleshah adhikatarah strain klesha means we are not going to that avidya smita raga dvesha pancha klesha we are not like that klesha in a normal sense in the dictionary sense klesha in the dictionary sense means strain effort you have to make greater effort you have to go to a guru do some shravana manana nididhyasana etc this is all and again you have to analyze your own mind you have to analyze you have to drive away all the defects of the mind all this vasana kshayam all the vasanas all the dirt in the mind has to be cleaned all that is a very slow and very tedious process so that sort of tediousness that is klesha that tediousness is there adhikatarah it is that tediousness or pain or strain is more in that process for whom tesham avyakta asakta chetasam those whose minds are in that they are settled in that avyakta asakta chetasam chetas means mind chetasam those who are having such mind what type of mind asakta chetasa avyakta asakta chetasa those whose minds are asakti means desirous of that avyakta those which are seeking those people who are seeking that avyakta that means those people who are in that jnana path so for them kleshah adhikatarah then avyakta hi gatihi dukham dehavadbhihi avapyate the word splitting is avyakta hi gatihi dukham dehavadbhihi avapyate so this avyakta gatihi he means yasmat because this avyakta gatihi this goal called avyakta gati here means goal gati is goal this goal called avyakta dukham avapyate means dukkhena avapyate it is attained with great strain dukkha means not sorrow here with great strain great struggle you have to struggle a lot so that is it the dukham avapyate by whom dehavadbhihi is a very key word here in this shloka this avyakta gati this goal called avyakta dukham avapyate dukkhena avapyate with great strain with great struggle it is achieved by whom by dehavadbhihi dehabhimanavadbhihi dehavan means one who has a body we all have bodies so we are all dehavatah only dehavan dehavantau dehavantah we are all dehavantah but then dehavadbhi is in a slightly used in a different sense dehavadbhi is trutiya bahuvachanam dehavadbhi by the people who have bodies that is the literal meaning but literal meaning is not taken here dehabhimanavadbhi one who has got dehabhimana so one who is very well settled in his deha one who is very well settled in his notion of ego deha means of course deha again is of two types deha is we still have time yeah deha is of two types one is sthula deha and the other is sukshma deha sthula deha is you are 6 footer you are a handsome man you are having all types of good qualities and then you can charm people and all these things that is again one sthula deha abhimana then sukshma dehabhimana I am so and so I have achieved this I am so and so I am such a mighty boss in my office I have so much of money I have so much of wealth I have so many gadgets so this is again sukshma dehabhimana or if you talk about us oh I have read Gita I have read some other shastram I have read Upanishad I have done this is again this is also abhimana isn't it you may not have that sthula dehabhimana but you have this sukshma dehabhimana I am reading Gita I am a more pious man so see that fellow is wasting his time watching movies I am not wasting my time I am reading Gita I am teaching Upanishads or I am reading Upanishads so people also will praise you oh this man is a very good man such a nice man you see he is studying Gita He is not wasting his time. So that is adding to your ego, isn't it? At least a fellow who is doing something wrong, so there are some people who fight fault with him, who will say, "Arey, you are not doing the right thing." But for people like us, people will praise us. People will say, "Oh, he is such a nice man." If you go to a meeting, people will start praising you. "Oh, this man is doing a great service. He is studying Gita. He is teaching Gita or something like that. So he is a well-read man. He is well-read in Shastras." So people, when they praise, then that ego again is boosted, isn't it? So we are again into the trap. So for that, Dehabhimana, to get over that Dehabhimana is something very, very difficult. So Dehabhimana, when you have that, so this Avyakta, this particular goal called Avyakta, or this particular goal called that Supreme Brahman. Here this Avyakta means we are referring to Supreme goal here. So that thing is achieved with great difficulty because it is this ego is something which is so insurmountable. It is very difficult to cross over that ego. So that is the meaning here. So then let us read the Bhashyam. Kleshaha adhikataraha yadyapi matkarma parana klesha adhikataraha yadyapi matkarma parana matkarmadi paranam kleshaha adhika eva kleshaha adhikataraha tu aksharatmanam paramarthadarsinam dehabhimana parityaga nimittaha avyaktasakta chetasam avyakte asaktam cetaha yesham te avyaktasakta chetasaha tesham avyaktasakta chetasam. Okay, so kleshaha adhikataraha. Yadyapi, even though, yadyapi means even though, mat karmadi paranam, those who worship me. So you are referring to two paths here. One is that Nirguna Brahma, knowing of that Nirguna Brahma, realizing that Nirguna Brahma, versus worshipping that Saguna Brahma, isn't it? So those who are this mat karmadi paraha, that is those who are in that Saguna path, mat karma krut, mat paramaha. So those people who are worshipping, who are in that path of worship, yadyapi kleshaha adhikayeva, though, even though there is some strain there also, where you have to stray all your time, you should forget your wife, you should forget your children, and then you are doing that puja, isn't it? So all other things you forget slowly, then your friends you forget, and then you stop all unnecessary relationships, and then you are in that path of devotion, isn't it? So that is what you have given up all other things, and then you are in that path of devotion. So though it is kleshaha adhikayeva, here tu on the other hand, kleshaha adhikataraha, so the klesha or strain is much more. The strain is much more in whose case aksharatmanam paramartha darshinam, that is aksharatma. So for those people who are in that state of aksharatmanam, for those who have attained that state of akshara, that is those who have attained the state of Brahman, so for them, then paramartha darshinam, those who have realized that supreme artha means arthyate iti artha, isn't it? Purushartha. There are 4 purusharthas. Moksha is the highest purushartha. So paramartha darshina, that paramartha is that moksha purushartha. Those who have achieved that moksha, paramartha darshinam, that supreme thing they have seen, they have realized, for those people, then dehabhimana parityaga nimittaha kleshaha adhikataraha. So that connection has to be made like that. Dehabhimana tyaga nimittaha kleshaha. The klesha, all the trouble is only regarding the rejection of this dehabhimana, isn't it? All this dehabhimana parityaga means rejection, all this negation, dehabhimana parityaga, giving up. So nimittaha means it is caused by that. All this klesha is caused by the great effort you have to put in order to reject your dehabhimana. So that is the point here. So dehabhimana parityaga nimittaha, the whole klesha or trouble is because a man finds it very, very difficult to get rid of this dehabhimana. Dehabhimana means including that intellectual abhimana about intellectual achievements, all these intellectual accomplishments, even that spiritual accomplishments. Sometimes there is what is called a spiritual pride. In English also, even in Christianity, there is a word called hubris. Hubris or hubris, I am not sure. Hubris. Hubris is that spiritual pride. Spiritual pride is supposed to be one of the, say, 7 deadly sins, as they call it. So, these 7 deadly sins, this hubris is one very serious say thing. So, like the same thing here also. The same thing. So, this Dehabhimana, this spiritual pride is something which has to be got rid of. The spiritual pride again is a manifestation of Dehabhimana only. Manifestation of that Sukshma Dehabhimana. So, all that thing has to be got rid of. Then avyakta asakta chetasam, avyakte asaktam chetah yesham te avyakta asakta chetasa. For those who are interested in this avyakta, so this getting rid of this ego is a very, very mighty task, a very, very insurmountable, very difficult to surmount. Not, we can't say totally insurmountable, very difficult to surmount, because after all there are jnanis who have reached that stage. For these avyakta asakta chetasam, the basic hurdle, the greatest hurdle is that ego. So that is where it is. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.